As promised, in a few moments we'll hear from Claire Barrett, personal finance editor at the FT, about pension scams. A figure has been put on just how much has been lost. We'll hear from Claire in a second. But let's carry on the conversation now about cladding, paperwork and the effect on thousands of people's lives. Richard is in Leeds. And Richard, you can help us because you are a fire engineer. Tell me about your work.
Hi, Eddie.
Hi.
I'm listening to all the residents on your programme. It's just awful, and I wanted to speak out and just say, we empathise with these people, but it's such a complex task that it's very difficult. And what we've been doing is, I'm director of a fire engineering company, and we will go out and assess a building. We'll open up the cladding to check what's behind it, what's in there, and then working with another company, like a cladding company, we will, along with an architect and building specialists, work out a plan. And with the Building Safety Fund, we have contacts with them. We then get them to pay for any remedial actions that need to be taken place, new cladding, new cavity barriers, new insulation. So the residents tend not to, spend too much money of their own hard-earned cash, and we're trying to make the government pay for it. But we're trying to take the bull by the horns with this and get it sorted.
Because what you've just outlined, Richard, what you've just outlined sounds like a coordinated plan with everyone doing their bit and working together. Now, if that is how it is working, I don't understand why we've had so many calls from people in the predicament they're in. Do you know?
There's that many buildings and that few of us.
Right.
We have been successful. We're working on this non-stop, and we've been successful on a few buildings, but it's literally a handful, and it takes such a long time. We're in the process of doing so many buildings at the moment, but it does take a long time to get, to do the assessment, write the reports, architectural design, because obviously when the cladding comes off, new cladding has to go on, new insulation has to go on. It's different thicknesses, different U values, everything has to be redesigned. Building control has to be spoken to about it all. All has to be approved. The building fund has to grant the funding, and it all takes time. And like I say, there's thousands of these buildings, and not many of us. But we are trying to get on top of it. But just on another point with the EWS1 form, I'm being contacted by by clients who've, the mortgage lenders have asked them to provide an EWS1 form on, buildings that aren't even as part of the, they're under 18 metres. I got asked to do one in a 19th century stone building that was a house that had been converted into flats. And it's about 10 metres tall. And you think that this is crazy. We should be concentrating on the cladding aspect, and we shouldn't be concentrating on the stone-built house.
Richard, what do you think of the stories we've heard today, and it's just referenced by the MP we spoke to a moment ago, about residents paying sometimes thousands and thousands of pounds to have patrols on their buildings to not make sure they're safe, but to alert people in the event of a fire? That's astonishing.
Yeah, that's part of what needs to be done. So when we find out there is a problem, so if some insulation is combustible or cladding is combustible, then we have to put interim measures in place. So usually, because most residential buildings are stay-put policy, there is a fire alarm system, but all it does is open the smoke vents in the corridors. It doesn't sound. The only fire alarm that's in place will be in the residence corridor, and that will only alert them. It won't alert anyone else. So you need a new fire alarm system to put in place in the interim, and before that can be done, because it takes time to design and install, they have to do what's called a waking watch in the interim, and basically looking around the building. But these companies are charging thousands of pounds to do it, and it's terrible. But it's something that needs to be done to make building, to make residents feel safe, and also make sure that they can call the fire brigade as soon as they see anything.
Richard, thanks so much for calling in. Your expertise invaluable there. Thank you. Well, this conversation ends at this second right here, but rest assured LBC will not be leaving this story. We've heard so many accounts, and Rachel will carry on doing the reporting that has led to all of this. So stay with LBC and we will not leave this story. Rachel Venables, our correspondent. If you haven't heard her report so far, do pop to the LBC website, lbc.co.uk, to catch up with all Rachel's reporting on this, whether or not you're directly affected, because it's so important to hear.